Hi, welcome to our November newsletter video. I'm Loren,
And I'm Nathan.
and this month we were hoping to talk about I'd say some critical financial planning topics. And then there is something else going on in November that's a big deal.
Yeah, I was thinking of
Thanksgiving?
this on the way in.
Veterans
That is
Day?
happening. Veterans Day. Thank you, veterans. There's something else though. I don't
What
know
is
if
it?
you're aware. There is a.
I wish it was on the news.
There's an election.
Ah,
There's an election
you
coming
nailed
up.
it.
Maybe it's already happened by the time you're watching this. I
Yes,
don't know.
yes. That would be the
Maybe
best news is that it's already happened by the time
It's in
you
the
watch
rearview
this
mirror.
and it's in
Right.
the rearview mirror. That's right.
Right. So there is an election coming up. It's an election year. I'm sure everyone out there watching this is going to go out and vote. We hope that
That's
you
right.
do. It's very important that I think that we all participate in that.
Everyone, yes, that's the part that we do want to be serious. We're joking around a little bit, trying to make light of something, but it is critical that everybody gets out, exercises their right to vote. It's what America's all about, and I wish everybody the best of luck.
Yeah, but so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about tax loss harvesting. I think we've mentioned this before, but we're getting close to that time of the year, the end of the year, and you're looking at, okay, what can we do in the portfolio to maybe make things a little bit better in terms of our results and efficiency? So we're going to talk about that and direct indexing. But let's start with the election. I think that's what we should start with, Lauren.
Yeah, and I know that we've talked about it in other newsletters and probably in other videos. But as Nathan said, it's probably top of mind for a lot of people. And there's probably some concerns about, hey, how are the election results going to impact my portfolio? What are Lauren and Nathan doing about it? And hopefully, you know that we're as proactive as we can be in all circumstances. But we have done the work, we've done the research, we've looked at the data. And in reality, who's in the White House and the long-term growth of a portfolio aren't as correlated as you may think. And I've heard lots of people talk about why that is. I've found the best one for me that I understand the most is you're investing in the most successful companies in the world, and the most successful companies in the world they have a repeatable process, so they can recreate that success in any political environment.
Right, and I think that's well said. And also, they want to obviously see who is in charge. If there's going to be some changing rules, some changing regulations, obviously they want to be aware of that. Once the election has come and gone, they're going to be more aware of kind of here's the road that we have to navigate, and we're going to navigate that. No matter if Democrats are in leadership and Republicans are in leadership, and we look at this historically and we say, well, there's really no changes strategically to make to a portfolio. It's important really just to stay invested.
That's right.
That time.
That's the critical key. That is absolutely the best point Nathan's made so far today, because we've been through. He got one. We've been through many, many political cycles, and we hope to be through many, many, many more political cycles. And what we don't want to see people do is make a bad decision based on short-term information that disrupts their long-term plan.
That's right. We always say focus long-term, try to ignore the noise that's short-term. That's obviously you're inundated with it. We get it. We understand that. And we also know that listening to too much of that and letting that influence your decisions around your portfolio, not going to be a good thing for you long term.
Yeah, you got to get through the noise. That's exactly right.
So what next? Tax loss harvesting.
Let's do tax loss harvesting.
Tax loss harvesting. We've talked about it before. We've written about it before, but I think this time of year, it's you're going into the final quarter of the year here, and going down the stretch. We want to look at a portfolio and kind of say, hey, where are there places in the portfolio, if there's opportunities, to replace existing holdings that may be underwater, meaning maybe they're below their cost basis. So you look at a portfolio, these are things that we're doing all the time. We're not doing it necessarily right at this very moment in time, but we could be, depending on what you hold and what you own in your portfolio.
Correct.
But an example would be if you have a portfolio and it has holdings, diverse portfolio is not going to all move in the same direction at all times. That's what it's supposed to do.
That's how you've designed it.
You're going to have some holdings that may be not performing as well as others, and you can take it and look at it. And if a specific holding is below its cost and presents enough of a move below its cost to warrant it, we would replace that holding with a similar but not identical holding.
Yep.
And then you take that, you're basically harvesting that loss and collecting that tax credit so that you can apply it against a future gain that will eventually come, because eventually the market won't always be moving that direction at that moment in time that it is when you sold that position, and it's going to change. So we want to capture those losses, use them for your benefit in the future. You can also use a little bit against your current income. But I think the most way our clients, find those useful is applying it against long-term gains in the future.
That's right. That's right. And then an extension of that is direct indexing. So direct indexing, hopefully everybody's heard of investing in an index. You can also create your own index by buying individual stocks yourself. So if you have a large enough portfolio, you can match the S&P 500, which is made up, of course, of 500 stocks. And just like Nathan said, inside that portfolio, you may have a stock that is underperforming. The example that I heard that resonated with me is maybe you bought Pepsi at a certain dollar amount, and in a short-term time frame it's dipped below that amount. You could sell that, or the portfolio manager could sell it for you, immediately replace it with Coke. That way the portfolio is still intact, you still have the same asset allocation inside that portfolio, but now you've captured that tax credit for future use.
And those are things that we're doing, right? That we'll have a tax overlay on a portfolio, on a separately managed account that has this kind of feature about it that's looking to actively do that.
Correct, correct. And then Nathan brought up a good point when we were talking before the video today, that in addition to that, you can use direct indexing because maybe you have a preference or you're adverse to certain types of investments. And then we can make that portfolio more customized. So you say, hey, here's a segment of the marketplace that I don't want to support. I don't want to have money go into that segment of the marketplace. That's a little bit easier to do when you have a direct index than if you had a mutual fund or an exchange traded fund.
Right. That's going to be very difficult to do in a mutual fund, very difficult to do in other ways. And so a lot of the reasons behind direct indexing are multiple, and obviously the tax efficiencies that it can provide, but also being able to really direct the customization of what you own, knowing what you own. Just talking about diversity, I think I mentioned it before, mention it again. Not everything in your portfolio should be moving the same direction at the same speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. And remember, it's proportion. So if you have a perfectly designed portfolio, you definitely want to have more winners and losers, if that's the right terminology. But if you've designed it perfectly, there's going to be some assets in there that haven't performed yet.
Right. So that's a good way to put it. So like you could go back to that example of tax loss harvesting, and you're looking at a portfolio and saying, okay, where are the opportunities to do that? That's something we're actively doing for you and all our clients. And just the importance of having a diverse portfolio. I think a lot has been made of the Magnificent Seven this year, or large cap growth stocks. They've done exceptionally well. They've been market leaders for going into last year and into this year. And they've had a fantastic run. But lately, we've started to see the market spread out a bit.
Yeah. So a lot of times you hear them say depth and breadth. So as the market increases, as it expands past one specific sector, like large cap growth, into other sectors, it's kind of a positive note, a potential positive note for future growth. And if you're not participating in those other areas,
right, you're going to miss out on those opportunities, and you can't time exactly when that's going to happen. So we are going to build and maintain a diverse portfolio for you and everyone that we work with, because we know that it's not going to be a great idea to fall in love with a specific segment of the market, or fall in love with a specific stock or a specific holding just because that's done well this year or for the last 18 months, whatever. Because eventually the winds of change, right? You're going to have some rotation. You're going to have some things changing in the market, and you're not going to be able to time and pinpoint that precisely. So it's important to obviously have exposure to large cap growth and tech, and you're going to have that in any portfolio that has the objective of long-term growth. You're certainly going to have that, but it's important to be diverse in what you own, and we're going to maintain your diversity in election years, non-election years, and always.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to kind of wrap up this video. So I think we talked about a lot of in-depth topics. The election, right? We talked about tax loss harvesting.
Go vote.
We talked about direct indexing.
Yep, direct indexing.
And I think really when we look at those, the focus of what we want to do is about what we can control in the portfolio.
Right.
So all of those things, except for one, are things that you can't control, and what we try to focus your attention on. And I know that we focus on those every day. So thanks again for tuning in. We appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you next month. And again, happy Thanksgiving, happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you very much.